You know, you're real
I told you not to open your mouth until I finish.
Oh, I don't take orders from you, so you don't get to tell me not to open my mouth.
You're the sourest person here.
She is. So
You
just be
interrupted
quiet.
me. I was literally in the middle of speaking.
Okay, because you were lying. You're speaking with
Stop
lies.
calling people liars and
Shut up, Amani. Nobody's talking to you.
Talk to people like they need to shut up. You need to behave.
I have no problem with you until you interrupt everybody.
You said something.
Here's the thing. If you
You
put
said
your finger in my face again, enough. Put your finger down.
Things are getting wild at the tell-all, and once again, Sarper and Shekinah find themselves at the centre of everything. This is all-out caste war. But how did it get to this? Well, the last time we saw Shekinah, she was arguing with the throuple because of a very personal question that she asked Amani.
Unbelievable.
It's very easy, honey. You need respect.
I'm not
You
your
need
homie.
respect.
And also, I never called you trans. I asked your girlfriend if you were.
Now, Shekinah's defense is that because she was talking to Amani on a personal level, she felt comfortable asking if Annie was trans. But the problem is, Annie and Amani, they can't believe that Shekinah doesn't understand why they took this personally. How does she not understand why we were offended? But this is where Aaliyah steps in. As the only trans person on stage, she has every right to comment here. Her opinion is more valid than anyone else's, right? So yes or no, in her opinion, was that question offensive?
I don't think that was a rude question, but I don't know, I don't know why.
I don't feel like it was a necessary question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Sean on this. Shekinah might not have meant it in a rude way, but why even ask it at all? How did she not realise that that would make its way back to Annie? She and Amani don't know each other. She owes her no loyalty. Back then, they hadn't even met in person, so this is a way too personal question to be asking such a short acquaintance. And heck, even if you did know them very well, it's still not the kind of thing you ask. It's a bit like when you run into someone that you haven't seen in ages and they may or they may not be pregnant. You're not quite sure. Do you risk asking and offending them, or do you just keep your mouth shut and wait to see if they volunteer anything? Well, the correct thing to do is to not say anything, and that's exactly what Shekinah should have done. If Amani didn't volunteer anything, then it's not Shekinah's place to ask. But get this, when they all go backstage, things take a very strange turn.
Shekinah, Sarper, can I talk to you guys really quick?
Singers
Can I talk before you talk, please? Sarper, I wanted to say thank you so much for today.
Now, while Amani asks to speak to both Sarper and Shekinah, she basically ignores Shekinah and only goes on to talk to Sarper. This, as we'll soon see, begins to irritate Shekinah. But Amani says she's actually surprised at how nice a guy Sarper is. He's a nice guy in person, she says. He gives really good feedback on all of the relationships. After everything I saw on stage, I like Sarper, she tells us. And it's at this point that Shekinah stops being quiet.
Be careful. She said that to me too.
You know, you're real
I told
catty.
you not to open your mouth until I finish.
Oh, I don't take orders from you, so you don't get to tell me not to open my mouth.
Yeah, Amani may be able to boss Matt and even Annie around, but she definitely can't do that to everyone. What was she thinking? Did she really think that saying, I told you not to open your mouth would end well? Who does she think she is? You can't talk to people like that. And rightly, Shekinah says, see you later, I'm not going to stick around to be spoken to like that. I'm off.
You guys have your conversation.
Well, if you didn't open your mouth, I would have said something to you.
She's not talking to me. I'm leaving. She's just nasty.
For a guy that barely ever speaks, who never says anything bad about his own monster of a wife, Matt sure does have a lot to say about other women, doesn't he?
She's not talking to me. I'm leaving. She's just nasty.
Now, Amani says that she would have got to Shekinah if she wanted to make amends, but, she has a very strange way of showing it. Now, you've got to say, Sarper is in a very awkward position here. That is, after all, his wife that they're insulting. And the insults continue, even with Shekinah just a few feet away, separated by a curtain. Matt and Amani continue to make rude remarks about her. You can literally see how uncomfortable this makes Sarper. But, crucially, he doesn't stick up for Shekinah. Instead, he almost tries to make a joke of it. He turns to the camera almost and says, this is female energy, my friends. Now, perhaps this is enough. Maybe this is exactly what the situation needed. He kept a cool head, and it's at that point that Amani realises the error of her ways. She, in fact, does a complete 180. She decides that she wants to be the bigger person here, and against Matt's advice, Matt says don't do it, Amani Amani approaches Shekinah to extend an olive branch.
Like, can you just drop it? Can you just drop it? I would say sorry, just say sorry, because
Don't.
I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry if I
what you want to
offended
say.
you.
I do not care about your fake apology. Please leave.
Amani responds to that by saying, I tried, my conscience is clear, but it doesn't quite work like that, does it? I mean, she's saying sorry, but she's not genuine with it. She's saying sorry just to say sorry, and that's not how an apology is given. Look, one thing is absolutely crystal clear. These two will never be friends, and frankly, it doesn't really matter. They're not going to be in each other's lives, they're unlikely to ever see each other again, so who cares? But what does matter here is that although he was visibly uncomfortable, Sarper didn't really stick up for Shekinah. He just stood there, and that has really hurt Shekinah's feelings. Now, Sarper says that he didn't want to get too worked up. If I wasn't careful, this whole situation could have descended into something much more serious, much more physical. And when they get back on stage, when Sean asks to know what happened, Sarper again tries to reassure Shekinah that he does have her back.
I keep promises because I love you. I love you. Yes, look.
Okay, you're
you
scaring me
believe
a
me?
little.
And while Shekinah's coldness seems to thaw at this, like she smiles and seems to like this reassurance, Sarper, by comparison, seems to have got really worked up. Like, he seems genuinely offended. He gets up, in fact, and he storms off stage. Everyone's bewildered. What the heck is going on, they ask. And they don't have to wait long to find out, because when he returns on stage, Sarper has with him a surprise for Shekinah that he hopes will prove once and for all just how much he loves her and just how seriously he takes his promises to her.
I hope you like it.
Whoa.
Oh my God, what is this? Wait, this is not just a wedding band.
This is a wedding ring and wedding band, as you wished.
Good job, man.
Now, keep in mind, earlier in the day, what we saw as the first part of the tell-all, but what must have been a few hours ago max, Shekinah had been complaining that she didn't even feel married because she didn't have a wedding band yet. Clearly, it had been Sarper's intention all along to try and surprise her today. And this, he hopes, is proof of my devotion and commitment to you. And by the looks of things, it sure is a big commitment. I mean, Sarper says this cost half his savings in Turkey to buy. But it may be worth every penny, because suddenly, just like that, Shekinah's mood now totally changes.
This is huge. What the hell?
Don't show me, it hurts. It really hurt.
I guess I'll stay married to him. I mean, like.
Until the next problem.
I mean, you've got to say, Amani isn't wrong, is she? It's a sad indictment that it's taken him buying her something, a gesture of materialism, to prove somehow that he loves her. The truth is, for as nice as this is, and don't get me wrong, it is a nice gesture, grand gestures will only get you so far. Like, it's inevitable with these two that problems, big problems, are just around the corner, and they may even be sooner than they might expect. Now, on that note, someone else who knows a thing or two about rocky relationships is Danielle. You see, she's invited on stage mostly to give her opinions and to support Juan and Jessica. And as it turns out, the most shocking thing here isn't that she and Johan are still married. It's actually that she and Shekinah apparently have an ongoing feud. So what happened? How did that come about?
She had suggested that I reached out to Sarper before the tell-all and wished him luck and didn't reach out to her, which was not accurate.
She did message Sarper and not me.
What is going on, honestly? Shekinah's having beef with everyone, it seems. Now, Danielle responds to this by saying, nothing's gonna come out of my mouth that I can't prove is true. But Sarper and Shekinah also say that they have receipts. We can prove that what we're saying is true, they say. So who knows who to believe at this point? It descends into a he said, she said, I can prove this, I can prove that. But while the two of them, or the three of them, don't agree, Matt, of all people, feels like he needs to get involved.
You're right, let him talk. You're right, let him talk.
Matt, respectful, Matt.
Shut up. You're speaking with
Stop
lies.
calling people liars and stuff like that. You need to be less rude.
She's literally lying about me.
And unsurprisingly, Amani and Matt's intervention doesn't stop this argument, it instead escalates it. Shekinah says Danielle constantly lies about me. She once accused me of buying bots to comment nasty things on her social media. Like, why would I do that? But Danielle's response to that is, you're desperate for attention. I bet you probably pay to get interviewed by the media.
She does these like press interviews that she probably pays for.
Oh my God.
And I mean, whether true or not, one thing's clear. This is a giant mess. There's no love lost here. Like, this is really an intense hatred that these two women have for each other. Now, with things really heating up, Sean says goodbye to Danielle, cue Shekinah saying goodbye, no one's gonna miss you, and then decides to call a break for the rest of the cast too. And as they all begin to make their way backstage, it becomes clear that the cast are beginning to take sides here.
Shekinah, I'm telling you, you have too many haters.
Yes, I don't understand it. It's all shocking to me.
Mahdi is on Shekinah and Sarper's side. He doesn't like how things just went down. He feels like Danielle and the Frapple were unnecessarily ganging up on Shekinah. And plus, he says, her accusing you of being media hungry, paying to get interviewed, was out of order. It's not fair. So during that break, Mahdi takes it upon himself to ask Danielle why she said that.
Shekinah presents as the kind of person that wants to put herself into anything. And she also fights with people who don't really deserve it.
Okay, can we just take a moment to enjoy the irony of that statement? She says that Shekinah likes to put herself into places that she doesn't belong, but can someone please remind Danielle that she wasn't even part of this season? Like, what the heck is she doing on this tell-all? Now, don't get me wrong, like, Danielle has a point to an extent. Shekinah can be mean. I've called her out on this channel plenty of times for that. But it's just that her reasoning here is a bit weird. Like, she claims that because she teaches yoga and meditation, she isn't a mean girl. Like, I'm not sure how that's relevant in any way. I'm not sure how she expects us to just forget how she used to talk to Johan. But regardless, this whole situation is really getting to Shekinah.
I'm nervous as right now.
This is the thing you're crying about right now? I have never seen you shed a tear. How are you a victim?
Because you're attacking her by your lies.
Now, notice Sarper sitting there quietly, and notice Mahdi jumping to Shekinah's defence. You're the one that wants attention, he says to Danielle, and lying about Shekinah seems to be the way that you're trying to get it. And that literally sets fire to everything. Everything blows up from here. Mahdi, Stevi and eventually Sarper side with Shekinah, while, no surprises, Matt and Amani side with Danielle. And all hell breaks loose.
I have no problem with you until you interrupt everybody.
You said something.
Here's the thing. If you put your finger in my face again, enough. Put your finger down.
And with a lot of screaming, a lot of shouting, stop pointing your finger at me, you're being disrespectful, you're being rude, etc, etc. Eventually it does all get separated, but my favourite reaction to this is Aaliyah's, who just sits there continuing to eat while it's all unfolding. Now, this is the first time we're actually seeing both Stevi and Mahdi show a bit of passion. I quite like it. I like seeing this fired up version of Mahdi, but also of Stevi. You've got to say, I get the impression that had Mahdi not got involved in this, neither would Stevi. But as soon as Mahdi got involved, Stevi had her man's back. She was ride or die, and I love that. She wasn't meekly standing behind him, like she was there ready to battle for him. Yeah, Sarper, take note. That is how you defend your partner. Now, with the warring factions separated and with Danielle sent on her way and the rest of the tell-all about other people, all goes relatively smoothly from here. Except, that is, when Sarper is invited to perform a stand-up comedy routine. And who does he choose to make the butt of his joke? Well, the Frapple, of course.
Isn't it just like playing golf, guys? Does it matter how many holes out there? When you have only one stick to play. You got it?
He's getting better, isn't he? Like, people can't help but laugh at his routine. It's actually not too bad, and thankfully it doesn't cause any extra tension. Like, even the Frapple can't help but giggle. And in fact, trying to build on that, backstage, Amani actually extends an invite to Sarper and Shekinah to join them for dinner. Now, unsurprisingly, that invite does get declined, and in fact, when they're leaving, Sarper and Shekinah choose to completely ignore Matt and Amani. But from the sounds of things, all this drama of today has been way too much for Sarper and Shekinah. They want to just put all of this behind them and focus on themselves, focus on working on their relationship.
I just want calmness, peaceful life. And I love her.
I want to move out of my place and get a place of our own. I want Sarper to work on his anger, and I want us to get into therapy.
And while that's good, like that's a good take, and they are in a better place than when they first came to this tell-all, at the same time, it does feel a bit like Groundhog Day. How many times have we heard this now? Sarper needs to work on his anger and we need therapy. Like, it's not new, and yet they're still in the same position, if not worse. Now, look, I guess if you're looking at this from a positive lens, all of this drama from today could easily have driven Sarper and Shekinah further apart from each other. The fact that it hasn't, the fact that it seems to have actually strengthened their bond a little bit, not to mention the new bling that Sarper has given Shekinah as well, might maybe be a positive sign. But they have a heck of a lot of work to do if they're to stand any chance of surviving, don't they? Are they going to be able to put in that work? Well, one thing you can almost certainly bet your life on is that this won't be the last we'll be seeing Sarper and Shekinah. Watch this space.